students watching and boys and girls in our classroom, we're ready to begin our activity time. Now for this activity, we're going to have an opportunity to do some gluing to make something very exciting. Can you almost see what you're going to be making? Looks like a beautiful picture so far, but we're going to make it even more beautiful. Now before we begin to make our special art project, I want you to take just a moment and I want you to look at this first page right here. Now this looks similar to the color wheel that we did several lessons ago for activity time. Remember, we talked about our color wheel and how we have three primary colors. And then those primary colors are mixed together to make secondary colors. Remember, we have our primary color of red. We have our primary color of blue, and we have our primary color of yellow. Now we mix them together just like we did with our color wheel to make those secondary colors. We can take yellow and red to make our orange color. We take our red and blue and that makes our purple or violet color. And then if we mix together our blue and our yellow, that makes our secondary color of green. But there's something else I want you to notice. Across from each of these primary colors, there are what are called complementary colors. And a complementary color just means it goes together. It looks nice together. So if I go right here to our yellow, if I go right across from yellow, what is my complementary color, students watching? And what do you see as my complementary color to yellow, Aria?
Purple.
It is, it's purple. And you can even see my apples. See how they have the complementary color on that part of the color wheel? It looks good together, doesn't it? Let's go across to blue. What's the complementary color to blue? So look across. What's the complementary color, Trey?
Blue.
I have blue. What's the complementary color to blue? That's it. And notice it goes both ways. Complementary to orange is blue. Complementary to blue is orange. What's the complementary color to red, boys watching? And what's the complementary color to red, Benjamin?
Green.
Green is right. So green and red, oh, they look really nice together. So those are complementary colors. We're going to take a little bit of time in this lesson and we're going to use those two complementary colors. The complementary colors of red and green, and we're going to make our very own pasta apple tree. Now, in front of you, students watching, you should have what we have. We have some spaghetti noodles that are brown. That's going to be the trunk of our tree. We also have some red macaroni noodles, which you can see right here. We're going to take those red macaroni noodles and we're going to almost put them together. And can you see what that looks like to you? Students watching, what do you think you would think that is if it were on a tree? And what does that kind of look like to you, Victoria?
A red apple.
It does. And if we look at the bottom of our art paper, do you see that basket of red apples at the bottom and then some apples at the top? We'll take those pieces and in a little bit we'll put them together to make it look like an apple shape. And the last pasta that you should have is this pasta right here. It's kind of a small shell shape. But let me put it this direction. Imagine that's on a tree. And what does that look like to you, girls watching? And what do you think that looks like, Ava?
A leaf.
It does. It looks like a leaf of a tree. So we're going to take our spaghetti noodles, our macaroni noodles, and our small shells and make our very own pasta tree. Now here's where we need to begin. The first step we need to do is we need to make sure that your paper is going this direction on your workstation. And we're going to start with the trunk of our tree. Now I have a start of the trunk of a tree that I'd like to show you. Now, for the start of the trunk of the tree, we want to make sure that we're getting close to the bottom because we want to have plenty of room to be able to put on our pasta macaroni and our pasta shells. So notice what I did for the trunk of my tree. There's a lot of different pieces of spaghetti, just like you have in front of you. And we're going to start close to the very bottom of it. And then we're just going to have nice thin lines of glue. We'll put our spaghetti noodle on top. And then we'll just continue to make those lines of glue. So let me show you really quickly. I've got some spaghetti right in front of me. And I want to begin by putting down a nice thin line of glue. So again, I'm going to start close to the bottom. And if you'll notice, students watching and boys and girls in our classroom, it's not a thick line of glue. I don't want a river of glue or it's going to make my project a mess. Do you see what a thin line of glue I made just with the very tip of my glue bottle? And then I'll take my spaghetti noodle and I'll just press it right into that thin line of glue. Give it just a little bit of time, and look, there's the start of my tree trunk. So let's do that now. Begin. Make one thin line of glue. Then press your spaghetti noodle onto it. Don't make a lot of thin lines, do it one at a time. So one thin line of glue, and then press your spaghetti noodle right on that thin line that you made. And then once you've done that, then you're ready to move to your next thin line of glue. Good. Oh, students watching, let's see how Tanner did. I think you're going to like what you see. I know I do. Do you see Tanner's thin line of glue? There's his spaghetti noodle, and he started his chunk of his tree. I think your tree probably looks as good as Tanner's does. Good, Tanner. Keep going. Maybe a little bit thinner, Aslan. Oh, Benjamin, that's such a good size for your glue. Kobe, maybe just a little bit thinner. Good, Ava. That looks great. There you go. There we go. Why don't we do this? I think that's plenty of glue for this noodle. And we'll just put that noodle right there, and you're ready to move to the next one. Good. Good, Victoria. Maybe just a little bit thinner for your next one. Okay, here's what we'll do. Mine kind of did that too. Did you see it online? There we go. Perfect. We healed it. Good, Titus. Need some help? Sure. Let's see. There we go. Here's what we'll do. Just a nice thin line. So start at the bottom. Just a little bit more. There we go. Maybe just a tiny tad more. That's it. That's perfect. Good, Hayden. Maybe just a little bit thinner with your glue. Good, Emery. Let me do this. I think you might need to have this open a little bit more. It's hard to come out, isn't it? Okay. There we go. How's that? A little easier? Good, Victoria. I like that Victoria is doing a thin line of glue, then putting a spaghetti noodle on top. Not a lot of thin lines, and then trying to match it up, one at a time. There you go, Trey. That looks great. Good, Aria. Maybe just a little bit thinner, Emery, so don't have to squeeze quite so hard. Great job, Aslan. That looks wonderful. Good work. Good, Kobe. I love those thin lines of glue. Oh, that looks really good, Ava. Nice, Benjamin. Good, Victoria. I think we could put a couple right there. Move these just a little bit closer. There we go. I'm gonna see if we can fit a couple right there. Good. Looks great. Just kind of slide it in. It'll stay. I think we get a couple more in. It is, but it's looking good. Yeah, you have. Really? Well, we're gonna have a great tree by the end of ours. That's fine. I think we could even get a couple more in there. What a nice straight tree trunk. Good job. Oh, that looks great, Titus. Students watching, we're ready to move on to our next step. Remember the complementary colors that we looked at just a moment ago. What was the complementary color of red, boys watching? And check their answer for us, Titus.
Green.
It is. So red and green are complementary colors. Now we're ready to make our apples and also the leaves for our tree. And notice how it's going to look at the very end. Notice that we'll just take a little bit of glue and put on each leaf, but we want to try to keep our apples, our two halves of our macaroni together. So let me show you exactly what I mean. I'm going to come back to the tree trunk, and your tree trunk probably looks similar to mine. All you need is just a little dot of glue for each piece. Remember, again, we don't want to have big pieces of glue. Just a small dot will work. Now notice what I did. It might even be a little bit hard to see because it's right inside of a white cloud. But we want to act as if we're coming out just like a tree would. So we don't want to put our tree down here, our leaves and our apples. Instead, we'll do it up above our tree and try to make the shape of that tree just by using our different types of pasta. So I think that this first one, I'm going to make a really nice leaf. So I'm going to take my shell, I'll put it on, just put it right in that glue, and then I have a start with my leaf. How many pieces do I need to make an apple? Kobe?
2.
I do. I need those 2 pieces. I'll put them together. So again, I'll make 2 dots with glue. They don't have to be very big at all. I'll get my 2 pieces of macaroni, and then I'll just make them so they're facing each other, and they make that nice round shape, just like an apple. And there you can see the start of my tree. Now before you begin, let me show you one more time about how your tree wants to look by the end. Remember, we're going to do it right up at the top because that's where our tree is going to be growing with the leaves and apples. And then you show by the shape of your pasta, the shape of the tree, the way you spread it out. Remember, you don't need every single part covered. Just make the shape of your tree by using those pasta parts. So go ahead and get busy making your leaves and your apples. Good, just a little dot, maybe a little smaller, Emery. Glue is really strong. Oh, Hayden, that tree trunk looks so nice. Good job, Trey. Aria, that apple's going to look wonderful. Good job. That's it. You got your leaf started. Looks good. You know what we could do? I'm going to take this guy right there, and we could add him there, and I think that'll stick. Look good? Pretty Victoria. That's great. Wonderful, Tanner. Ooh, I see some apples on Aslan's tree. They look yummy. Aslan, it might be a little easier if you put your dot on your paper. That way your fingers don't get glue all over them. So you want to make something right there on that dot. There you go. Good. And then just make him go the other direction. There you go. That's it. Good, Kobe. Good. Oh, I can definitely see the shape of your tree, Emery. Great, Aria. Looks good, Titus. Good, Trey. What a good looking apple. students watching, I know that your pasta apple trees are looking wonderful. We enjoy doing this project with you and learning about complementary colors. Continue to finish this with your on-site teacher.